Everybody, Meridian police report that people in the city have lost more than $200,000 in the past several months to a Jamaican lottery scam, and investigators say it would probably be much more than that if you factored in people that didn't call law enforcement after losing that cash. BBB's Dale Dixon's with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And you've been talking about lottery stuff in the future, either from Jamaica or from other country or what have you. Yeah. But this one is really startling just because of that $200,000 that we're talking about this morning.
Hey, you're talking about almost $250,000 lost out of one community. That's lost out of one community just in the course of a couple months. And when you factor that in and you think about how many towns we have in your viewing area and how these scam artists are hitting it so hard, and basically we are funding the criminal activity. When I say we, it's anybody who responds to this and sends any of the cash. They are funding criminal activity, plain and simple.
So you're sending people cash, and they're of course criminals. You're not actually going to get anything out of return.
No.
So how is it happening? How are they luring all these people in?
Well, they call up with the offer of free money, and it is, guess what, Spencer? You've won the lottery, and it's in Jamaica. And we just want to let you know that. By the way, there is a small fee that is associated so we can get the money out. It's either a fee or it's some kind of a tax. And sometimes it'll start as low as $20. And in that case, people think, oh, it's 20 bucks. It's worth the risk that it might be a scam, but I'll pay it anyway. And then once you do that, they just reel you in.
Mm-hmm. And so when people get started on this, it's something that, can often be tough to come out of. We've talked about this before, and that's why they end up losing so much money. It gets kind of that addiction going and everything. But I understand there's things that family members can watch for if they maybe worry that one of their loved ones is caught up in
Absolutely,
this, right?
Yeah. We've talked about this a number of times on this set at this time, and the message isn't getting through. So now we're going to change tactics, and we're going to ask family members and friends to look for the warning signs because it's dangerous, and people are losing a lot of money because of this. And so the first warning sign is if you have a friend or family that's opening a lot of new bank accounts, and if they're opening these bank accounts, there ought to be a reason why. And oftentimes this is one of the tactics of the scam artists, is to get people to open up new bank accounts. And so that would be the first warning sign. Next, if you have friends or family who are engaged in a lot of wire transfers, so they're going down to Western Union or MoneyGram, or they're buying the green dot cards, why? Most often it's going to be because they are the victim of one of these scams. A lot of deception. And when we say deception, what you're looking for from a family member is that they're hiding their bills. They don't want you to look at their phone bill because that's where they're racking up a lot of money in long-distance phone calls to Jamaica. So any kind of deception, if they don't want you seeing their bank account, if they don't want you seeing their credit card statements because they're borrowing a lot of money to send to the scam artists, phone calls. Be watching for phone calls. All of a sudden somebody gets secretive on the phone and has those kind of conversations.
And they probably get lots of them too.
There's a lot of phone calls, absolutely. Letters, we've seen people come, they start responding to these, and they'll get a stack of envelopes this big in one day. 30, there were 30 letters in 1 week for one person. Right. So they get a lot of mail in this case, and then packages, because oftentimes they'll be asked to be a money launderer for these criminals that are operating out of Jamaica. So just be watching for these warning signs because once people get involved, the scam artist says, be sure you don't tell anybody. Don't contact law enforcement. I was talking to Detective Craig Foley with the Meridian Police Department. He said he was sitting in a bank. He was in uniform. He had a uniformed officer sitting next to him talking to a victim, and the victim still would not believe them that they had been taken by a scam.
Wow.
Because the deception is so deep in this case.
And people get so reeled in that it's hard for them to get out. And so that's why, like you said, BBB is switching tactics a little bit, looking out for your friends and family, because if you see any of those signs that we had up on the screen, you can maybe help that person get out before they start losing all that money to a bogus scam.
Exactly.
In Jamaica. All right, so very important stuff. Thanks so much, Dale, for being with us this morning.